Hello and welcome to Andy's Shed Live. This is Series 9, episode number 6 for Sunday, the 15th of August 2021. Hello there everybody and welcome to the show. A little bit late starting today, it's been one of those days. God, has it been one of those days. But we're here, better late than never. And as you can see, quite a few people here in the chat already as well, which I am just getting up on my phone so I can see what everybody's up to. So just bear with me 1 second. Where are we? Here we are. It says I'm doing a live stream. Who would have thought it? Right, need to plug my phone in, because as usual it's got a fairly dead battery. But how is everybody this week? Are we all well? What's everybody up to in the old chat? Who's here? Let's have a little look. Oh cracky, a lot of people are here. Christopher's here, Jimmy's here, Dominic's here, Fung is here, Fat Hobbit's here, Paul Nolan is here. Oh crack, everybody is here. Wesley's here. Yeah, everybody's here. You all got here before me. And that's quite common for me, actually. Everybody else gets to a place before I do. That is very, very common. If you ask anybody around here, they'll all tell you the same thing. They'll say, if you want Andy somewhere at a certain time, tell him at least half an hour before the time you actually want him there for. So if you him there at 6 o'clock, tell him 5:30. Then you might, if you're lucky, get him there at 6. And that is true, and I entirely admit to it. So yeah, evening everybody. What's everybody been up to this week? And evening, baby James. Does this mean we have a new viewer? I'm seeing evening, baby James from Wesley. Does this mean we've got a new viewer portal, perhaps? Cool. Right. So much has been happening this week. So much has been happening this week. I bought a load of phone bits off of a dealer down south. And they are at the moment winging their way to me on a courier. When they get here, I've got no clue where I'm going to put them. Apparently there's 4 boxes of stuff. So we'll probably see what's in those next week, I'm guessing. But at the moment, they've not arrived. One thing that has arrived is a blue telephone. It's on the desk here. Did I show you this last week? Was this here last week? This blue phone. This is an American phone. It's not 500 series though. It's something else. It's from America. It's made by the Automatic Electric Company. And whereas Western Electric, and that was part of Bell, and that was kind of the national operator, if you like, of telephones. There were little private independent companies up and down America, and those private independent companies tended to get phones like this from Automatic Electric. So it's similar to a 500, but not the same. So this is the private operators kind of, the small telecom companies phone that they had, in this rather fetching sort of cyany, bluey, greeny sort of colour. A lot of phones from America seem to be like beige, but this one is this interesting sort of blue, green, sea blue, whatever you want to call it. What colour would you call that? It kind of looks blue as I'm looking at it on the monitor here, but it's not that colour in reality. It's kind of got bluey, greeny, cyan I think is what they used to call it. If anybody had a VIC-20 computer in the 1980s, the default colour for the border on a VIC-20 computer when you turned it on. That's what colour this phone is. So there you go. So and the beauty of this is it's working as well. I can, oh grand blimey, can I do it upside down? There you go. You say I can ring another phone with it, and if you want to hear this thing ring, because that's ringing a British phone there, if you want to hear it ring, this is what it does. It's kind of a higher pitch ring, much higher pitch ring than a British phone. Right, we'll hang that up. Right, so that is that. I've been finding other bits and pieces out as well. I've been finding dial surrounds and stuff here, and I've got some damaged ones that need repainting and on the back and all this kind of thing, because they tend to end up sort of like that. I don't know if you can see that, but you see that? It's got bits missing. It needs, you can see there. You can see through it, look, into the light. It's got like what look like moth holes in it, but it's just where the paint's scraped off. So we need to do something with those. So that's something else to do and to sort out. So it's all go at the moment. It's absolutely all go and stuff. The phone that we were doing last week, that Pi phone, is still here. It's still awaiting bits, but it's, oh crank, I've got it stuck now. Told you I'm not going to have a very good day today. But here it is. It's kind of together, but it's still awaiting some parts. Somebody's been in touch with me this week to say they got some parts for one of these, but all the parts they've got are bits that I don't need. They're bits that are already here, unfortunately. So we're still working on that. So if anybody's got any bits for one of those Pi 706 clones, let me know. It would be rather good if you have. Right, so what are we doing today? Well, let me put the blue phone out of the way somewhere. Hang on a sec. Put that out of there, that out of there, that out of there, that. And do that with that. And that. Cool. Right, yeah. Today, as promised, sorting out a Trimphone. Now you saw this bit of a Trimphone last week. It's just a headset. We had this on last week, and we said we were going to do something with this last week, didn't we? And basically, I said, well, yeah, we need to do something with it. You know, it's time we did something with it, basically. And yeah, we do need to. So we've got that bit. Then I've got various other bits, because a couple of weeks ago a box of bits arrived. There's a theme here. Boxes of bits are arriving. And a few other bits arrived as well the other day. So, are you ready? Mind your eyes, this might dazzle. This a fetching yellow case arrived. A nail holder. The two circuit boards out of a Trimphone arrived. This all came together, but in bits like this. The base of a Trimphone arrived. The cord for a Trimphone arrived. one of the handset elements. And did I get the other one? No, I don't think I've got the other end one. I'm looking in a bag of bits here. I don't think I've got the one that goes in the other end of the Trimphone. Right. So, all this has arrived, and basically what we've got to do now is see what we've got to try and put this Trimphone back together, because if you've not spotted it already, this pile of stuff is actually quite a desirable Trimphone, because it's a Snowdon range one, a two-tone yellow one, so it'll be worth a bit of money if we can make a working phone out of it. So what we've basically got to try and do is try and turn this back into a Trimphone, and it shouldn't be too difficult. It should be reasonable, but there are some bits that I've not got here, namely a dial for a start. The dial is definitely missing, but let's see what we can do so far with what we've got here then. So we'll start with the base. Here's your base, and first thing to do with your base is make sure it's got 4 feet, which this one has. Interestingly, no kind of marks or anything underneath it that I can see. Is that a sticker there, or is that in the plastic? I think that might be in the plastic. So interestingly, no information about it, so we can't tell anything from that, but it's a base. So what we need first now then are the 2 circuit boards. Now a Trimphone has 2 circuit boards that are generally wired together like this. There's a couple of wires normally that go between them, sometimes up to 4 wires that go between them, depending on the version of the Trimphone. And what we've got to do with this lot is try and put it all back together. Now you'll see these circuit boards are shaped, and because they're shaped, they should go back together reasonably easily. So this one goes up this end of the phone, and here there's 2 little hooky things that end of the circuit board there goes under. So it goes under those hooky things, and that end slots in like that. Okay, now this bit of it, this wheel here, which controls the loudness of the ringer, this has to go in next. Now note this little screw here. This screw is normally screwed in, and when that screw is screwed down further than it is at the moment, you cannot turn this ringer to the off position. It will not do it. It will only go between soft, and then sort of halfway stays there, and loud, which is there. But if you unscrew that screw a bit so it's sticking up, it kind of then misses a stop on the wheel that I'm turning here, and you can get the off position, so you can actually turn the ringer off, should you want to. So I'll leave it set on soft for the moment. So you've got to put that in by putting the wheel through the little slot in the side of the case here, and then hopefully the rest of it will just kind of more or less fall into place. There you go, and it goes slightly under this board as well. So, can you see how it's gone slightly underneath that other board? And then there's a hole lines up there for a screw to go in at some point. Then you've got all these wires here. You've got pink fork connector, a grey, a blue, a brown and an orange. And they are what go to the dial when you get the dial sorted out. So they will end up going there. So that's the circuit boards in, and we'll do the rest of it in just a moment when we come back. Sort of. Oh, hang on. What am I doing? Yeah, there. We'll do the rest of it in a moment when we come back after this short break. Don't go anywhere. And we're back. If you wonder what that is, it's for people that watch after the event. That's where the ads go. Right, so we've got this Trimphone here. We've got the circuit boards in place. I've not screwed them down yet, but the circuit boards are in. Next thing we probably ought to do, I think, is probably to fit the line cord. Now, here's a Trimphone line cord. Can you see this? Yeah. Okay. Not in terribly great condition. Its curly bit has come kind of uncurled, and that, but we might be able to do something about that. They get pulled about over the years. You see, it's not a tight curl at all. That, and it feels horrible. This, it feels kind of sticky. So, could really do with a wash. This. Which is something we might well do. I just realised I'm on the wrong chat. Again. Live chat. I'm on this silly top chat thing and I want to be on live chat. That's the one. I'm on live chat now, so I can actually now see what you're all saying. So this is going to be my next little thing to fit. Right, what is everybody saying here then? Oh, Dominic says he looked at the Cromford Mill event and it said it was an artisan's market. Yeah, it was, Dominic, but we were there with some stationary engines. It was ridiculously busy. No social distancing at all. Ridiculously busy. I stayed behind a barrier with the stationary engines all day and didn't come out, so I could stay 2 meters away from everybody, because it's just insane. People are acting like complete idiots. Dominic says, some say the automatic electric phone partially inspired the 706 body. You can sort of see the 706 shoulders there. Can you? Yeah, I suppose you can. Yeah. Tell you something, it's better than the 706. Case comes on an awful lot easier. Bum, bum, bum. Wesley says, you haven't found a red alphanumeric dial bezel by any chance, have you? I've not, Wesley, no. No, it says the red and Concord blue ones are scarce at the moment. Yeah, they are. The Concord blue ones will always be scarce because they didn't actually make many Concord blue phones. So the genuine ones will be scarce, the Concord blue ones. Dominic says this phone that I'm doing here is orange and yellow. Do you think it is, Dominic? I think it's two-tone yellow. What do you call? Is that orange? I think that's dark yellow. It might be orange. What colour were they officially? I don't know. I just don't know. Right, let's try and do some of this wiring, shall we? Now, with these, I wonder if I can do it upside down, so you can see it. With these, the terminals are basically, theoretically, exactly the same as the terminals of a 706 or 746. So it's T1, T19. So it should theoretically be exactly the same. Not quite sure what that is, though. Probably something that's not 100% necessary. Not sure what that is. Anybody know what that is? That yellow thing in there? So what we're going to do here then is we are going to have a look at wiring in the line cord. Now the line cord goes in here. What you do is you lift this board up and it kind of slots over the edge of that hole there. Then that board holds it in. But the thing is then, where do the wires come out? And there's a sort of space at the side of there for them to come out. So I'm going to say they come back out there. And often they're wrapped around there for some reason, like that. No idea why, but they are often wrapped around there. So this is your line cord. I'm going to take this off because I don't think this is crucial. Somebody's screaming at me now going, no, it is crucial. I'll tell you something, it doesn't come off easily. It must be a fully round thing on there. It is. Right, so if it doesn't work in a bit, we'll put it back. But is it just a strange place to put is it a resistor? Like a 3.3k resistor, just in an odd place on the other end of the bell circuit, perhaps. What it would normally be. I'm looking on it, see if I can see anything written on it. There's something written on the top, but it's so small I can't read it. Oh, something. 3.3 or 33. Oh, 33L. So I wonder if that is a 3.3 kilo ohm resistor. What do you think, folks? Hang on. Get it in focus. Have a look at it. Can you read that? It's not easy to see, is it? I think it says RMO 3.3 KE. Yeah, it'll be a resistor then, right. So we'll use that in a minute, but we'll put it in the more standard place, I think. So we've got that. So now we need to try and fit these. So this is your line cord, remember. So we've got red, white, blue and green. So one that doesn't do anything, green, goes on here. On T15. Because green does nothing in the modern world. So there's your first one. Green is onto there. And then you've got your red and your white and whatnot. I'm just double checking that it is all actually exactly the same as a 700 series. Just talk amongst yourselves a second. So yeah, so your red's got to go to T8 and your white, of course, T18, and they're the two sides of your main line power. So where are they? Where's the red one? It's here. I'm flying over here. So here's the red one, which goes into T8. Like so. Screw fallen out. Dominic said he saw someone listing lots of 712 bits recently. That's interesting, Dominic. That's a bit unusual, 712. Wonder where all those bits came from. Right, so white now. T18. And blue goes to, oh blimey, I can't remember now. Blue is T5, is it? 1, 2, 3, 6. Blue is T6. Uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Six. On there, like that. So that's your blue, so that's all of those. And as I say, they're usually just wrapped around there for some reason. Now this brown dial wire is off, so I'll have a little look at my schematic thing, and it tells me the brown to the dial should go to T3. You see that? Brown to the dial should go to T3. So 1, 2, 3, that's that one there. And because it's a closed loop on the end of the wire, I've got to take the screw right out, put it through there. I find that's the easiest way to do it. Put the screw through the loop thing and then put it back where it should be. Then you can hold the wire while you put the screw in. Oh, you can't see it, can you? I've got the wrong camera on. There you go. In a minute, when it comes up. There you go. So, there we have it. That goes on there. Right. So, line cord is now attached. So, next thing to attach now, the line cord, is probably going to be the handset. Now, the handset I was doing things with last week because it was broken across here. I don't know if you can see, there's a crack across there. And it was broken like that when I got it, and it had been glued together or something. So I undid the glue. I basically broke it again along the glue joint, cleaned it up as best I could, and then I've done the acetone trick to melt the ABS plastic a little bit, and basically plastic welded it back together. But I need some acetone just to fill in the crack kind of thing that you can still see there. So I need some acetone ABS slurry, but because this is a rare colour of ABS, I haven't got any spare to make any acetone slurry up. So that'll be a job that'll have to wait until I get one of these handsets that's all broken up or something. But the handset now can basically go back onto the phone. Now, the question is, how do you fit the handset back to the phone? Now, I believe this goes in here. So we'll lift this out again in a minute, the circuit board, because I believe it goes in there. So, what you have to do is kind of lift that out because it's got to go up through this gap here. So just lift this a bit so that will go through there, and that will locate in there. That will all locate back, hopefully that'll go back into place, and that'll lock in like that. And when this circuit board is screwed down through that little hole there, that'll lock that in place there. Then you've got the tails up here that fit on here. So it goes red, green, blue, white. So red to T1, making sure that I've got it on there and it's not touching any of the other terminals. Which at the moment I think it is. So if it's touching one of the bottom terminals, just bend the end of the wires up a bit so they're not touching. Right, so that's red. Green is next. Blue is next. On to T3. So it's red T1, green to T2, blue T3, nobody said they disagree yet. And then white, for some reason, the bottom row, I guess it's just to do with how things are wired up. On to T11, and there's the remains of a old connector there, look. So take that one off. And all of that lot. Put that in first, like that. Then add that to it, like that. And that's all on T11. So theoretically, that's the wiring done. Dominic's in the chat. He says, "I've heard the wires for the line cord were wrapped around the peg as an additional means to prevent the line cord being yanked out." Yeah, could be, could well be. Thing is, it's not an easy way for them to get to the peg really, because they've got to go. You've got to sort of bend that capacitor there, that one, over a bit for them to get in there. Paul says that thing is a 3.3 kilo ohm resistor. That little yellow thing, so you shouldn't need it on the Trimphone though, as the warbler takes much less current than the gongs. Well, that's what I thought as well, but that looks like a proper one and it looks like it's been in there from new. Christopher says, "Annie, did you see the telephone manuals picture I sent in email?" I haven't, Christopher, no, but then I've not seen my emails today, so if you've sent it today, that's probably why. But various people, by the way, have sent photos in this week. Thanks to everybody who sent photos in. Because I've been out and about today and it's been a bit hectic, I've not had a chance to sort of get them all ready to put on the show. But we'll have a major photo session again next week, when hopefully I'll have had a chance to get them all on. So thanks to everybody who has sent in their photos. It's very good of you. If you want to send us a photo in, of course, you can. You can always send them to us. And I find it. There's the address. andyshed.coldpress.net is the website if you want to get in touch with us. If you don't know the secret email address, then go on there, fill in the contact us form, and I will email you back with the secret email address that we don't mention on here, so we don't get a load of spam. So that is on there. Or if you want to post photos yourself, remember you can, because because we've got the new forum, which is here, gpotelephones.proboards.com, and you can find that on there. Cool. Right, where have I gone? Hello, hello, hello. Ah, there we are, back to normal. Right. So. Wesley says, I have had plenty of 8722 trim phones, and they have all had resistors, even a boxed unused one. Yeah, I'm kind of with Paul. I don't really think they should need them. Should they? I guess it depends how much current they use. You wouldn't have thought the Warbler would have used as much current as the mechanical bells, but maybe it does. I don't know. We'll see if it works when we've got it all back together at some point. So we've got all that back together now. Now the question now we've done that, is has the handset got the elements and things in it that it should have? And now both the speaker and the microphone in the Trimphone, for those of you that don't know, are in this end. This is why when people want to say something to somebody without the person on the phone listening, if you cover that up like that and then speak to somebody, it doesn't work on a Trimphone, because the microphone that you're speaking into is actually up here, and it goes up a kind of plastic tube inside the handset, a bit like an ear trumpet kind of thing. So both bits are in the top end here, which I'll show you. If I undo this screw in the end of here, we take that out a minute, take this off, you can see both are in there. That is, can you see that in there? That is the microphone, basically, which is connected to like an ear trumpet thing that goes down inside here, and that one there is the earpiece, is the little speaker for the earpiece. So all the bits are in there that need to be, so that's something I've not got to reassemble, which means then that this one is a spare one that I got. Cool. Talking of spares, we're going to have lots and lots and lots of spares very soon when all these things arrive, and some of them are going to be going for sale on the in the online shop. So andysemporium.coldpress.net is the online shop address, andysemporium.coldpress.net, and there's going to be quite a bit of stuff going in there, I think. Right, so that's that. So we've got most of that back together. I could do with a screw to go in there, but I don't think I've got one suitable. Nope, that don't fit. That don't fit, so I'll have to find a screw to go in that little hole there. But next thing then is the thing that carries the dial. Now this should have 4 legs on it. This has only got 3. This has been broken, so I could do with repairing this somehow, making a new leg for it somehow. But basically 2 legs have got like a little foot on the bottom like that, and that's because that little foot slots down the side of there down the side of that bottom circuit board and just goes under the edge of the top circuit board. Yeah? And then the 2 feet at the other end just go at the end of the circuit board and just drop in there and there. And then that is what the dial will sit in. So all those dial wire things, dial cord things, basically need to go through that hole in the back of there. Because they're all going to be going to the dial. So that might be okay, even though it's got a leg missing. Actually, it feels quite stable. So that might fit together like that. Right. So next thing, in just a minute, we'll put the case back on. So yeah, back in a tick. And we're back, and the last bit of Trimphone repair that we've got to do for now is to fit the case. Now, there's a spring that's supposed to be involved in here somewhere, and I'm trying hard to remember where it goes, because there's this bit of plastic on the inside, see? That does a very strange manoeuvre, because when you put the handset on this rest, that presses down, and you would think that would press a micro switch down, but because this thing under here seesaws, and this thing, and that bit there is what actually presses the micro switch, you see when I press down, that actually lifts up. So this micro switch on the board, which is here, that actually is released like that when it's on hook, and when it's off hook, that is pressed down. Off hook, on hook, off hook, on hook. So opposite way round to what you might expect. But there should be a spring in this, and I'm trying hard to remember where it goes, because I know one end of it fits on there. Can you see that there? But I'm not sure where the other end goes without looking at another one, because I can't see anything that it should obviously attach to in here. So I will have to have a look and get back to you on that for next time, when we're going to be coming back to finish this off. So now the case has got 2 little latch things under the front that have to hook into the front here. And that should be up there like that, so that should hook under there. And that should be in there like that, and that should all hook together like that. Then you should be able to do this up, and that should hold everything together. And as we've said, the one major bit that I'm missing is the dial. Now you can fit an ordinary dial 21 into here, but the problem with that is Trimphones are not very heavy, and if you put an ordinary dial 21 in, it'll tend to scoot about on the desk. Legend has it that Trimphone dials are easier to turn, for want of a better description, so you don't have to put as much force into turning them, so they don't scoot around on the desk. So ideally you do want a dial that is designed for a Trimphone, not just a dial 21, although I believe a dial 21 will fit. And of course a Trimphone dial is normally special anyway, because it's got the thing for the tritium tube in it, which is the glowy bit that they got all upset about when they suddenly realised that it was like radioactive. Oh, it's radioactive, it's nuclear, oh. And what they don't realise is that the half-life of tritium is about 10 minutes, so it doesn't last, it doesn't stay nuclear for very long. Wesley says, you've omitted the resistor, have you not? I have for the time being, Wesley, because there's a bit of debate as to whether it needs a resistor when it's a Trimphone, because the resistor is to make it go from being 4N, for a normal 700 series phone, like a 746 or something, the resistor is to limit the current going through it, so from being a 4N phone to being a 1N phone, so you can plug more phones into your system at home and each have enough power still to ring, rather than one guzzling all the power at 4N. So we're not sure in a Trimphone if it would guzzle that much power, because it's not a normal bell, it's not a normal mechanical bell, and we don't think it would guzzle that much power, so we don't really think these are crucial in a Trimphone, but we don't know for certain. But Paul and me seem to be of the same opinion, that we don't think they should be, they're particularly crucial in a Trimphone. So I've left it out for now, but there's various bits and pieces that I've left out for now on that circuit board as well, because it's not quite finished. But what I've done is I've assembled the bits I've got, so now I can look and go, right, what bits now do I need to finish it off. So that's what we've got so far. So it'll be quite a nice thing, that, when it's done. It will be quite a nice addition to the collection, I should think that. Right, what's everybody up to in the chat? Dominic says, I can have a look at my Phoenix phone if that helps, Andy. Yeah, have a look at it, Dominic, and yeah, let me know. Wesley says that microswitch is what would be referred to as normally closed. Yes, that's right, Wesley. But yeah, Dominic, have a look, see if you can see where that spring goes. Where does it attach at the other end? Christopher says he's got a new old stock Telecoms Australia 897 war phone from 1997, and it's got the manuals with it as well. Cool. Always handy to have the manuals. Always handy to have the manuals. And the manuals, GPO in the UK didn't really go in for manuals. They had like a big book thing with lots of diagrams and lots of wiring diagram things in for anything and everything, what they call the end diagrams, and they all had different end diagrams for different phones and that, and you basically just installed the phone mainly by just looking at the end diagram and working out what went where, sort of thing. That was kind of the nearest that generally got to a manual for a phone in the UK, these end diagrams that were updated from time to time. And they do, books of the end diagrams do sometimes pop up on eBay, you know, because old retired engineers and that obviously kept them, and then years later, having to clear out the old garden shed, they find them and they go, oh, somebody might want these, so they stick them on eBay. But some of them are online as well. If you do a Google search, you can sometimes find various N diagrams online. N diagrams are not to be confused with the N diagram inside an Ericsson phone, because all Ericsson's part numbers, every part number in an Ericsson phone starts with an N, including the little, what they call the paster, the little diagram inside, like a 706 clone with the wiring diagram on. That little piece of paper stuck on with that diagram on has got a part number, and that part number starts with an N, and it's on the diagram. So people look at those inside Ericsson phones and see the N, and they go, oh, this is an Ericsson N blah 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 blah, this phone. It's not. That's just the N, that's just the part number for the diagram. What the phone is written underneath the phone. Wesley says, if you look closely, there should be a standoff with a couple of narrow slots where the spring engages. Right, let's have a look then, Wesley. Let's take the top off again. Of course, the other thing that I've not got is the spring itself. Right, a standoff with a couple of slots in it. Also, what just went ping and fell out? Did you hear something go ping? I hear something go ping. Right. I cannot for the life of me see it. All I can see is this sort of semicircular standoff thing. But there's no kind of... Oh, is it that? Is it that? Where am I on the camera? That thing there has got a couple of slots in it, and of course it should be that way around. So yeah, it'll be that, won't it? Because it does that, because these bits here locate on these here, so they kind of seesaw on there. So yeah, it's that, innit? So that, oh, I've got it. Yeah, that little bit in there, can you see with the two slots in? That's where the spring should go. Wesley saved the day yet again. That's 2 weeks running now, Wesley, you've done that. What do we do without Wesley Pegton? Right, so I'll put the top back on it now then. Right, so it's that way around, isn't it? Yeah, it's that way around. So that goes on front of there, there, there. It was the screw that fell out, that's what it was. It was that. These, by the way, don't lose these. These are kind of unobtainium as well. Not quite sure why they made these out of plastic, but they did, and they do break sometimes. You have to be a bit careful with them. Cool. So that's that for now. So for next week we need the spring, the dial, complete dial, and might need to do some links still on the circuit board, because I've not looked at what links are there and what links are not there. Yeah, but apart from that, it should then work. So we should have a winner. Wesley says he's blushing. Paul says 10 out of 10 Wesley. Yeah, go to the top of the class once again, Wesley, after you identified the prisoner phone last week as well. For anybody that wasn't watching last week, if you're a fan of the prisoner, go back and watch it because you missed something good last week. Right, so we've done that. We've cracked it. That sorted. Christopher says different colour 746 phone in 10 Downing Street. Meant line. I'm sure that's probably wrong. A different colour 746 in Downing Street. What colour did they have? What possibly different colour could they have in Downing Street? We know the Queen had an ivory one because she's featured before. Dominic says, I've recently looked at the Sinclair Computers Who's Who staff book, and it appears that Sir Clive did indeed have a red phone, but it was a 746. I'll post a link to it on the forum. Yeah, stick a link on the forum. gpotelephones.proboards.com if you want to go to the forum. Yeah. Right. So he had a 746 on his desk, possibly a bit like this one. But did it have a red finger wheel like this one's got? Because this red finger wheel on this one is causing untold arguments. So many people have been in touch with me about this. I got this with this red finger wheel attached, and I said it looks like it's always been there, because you know you can just tell when something looks like it's been fitted for a while. And one person said, yeah, some did have red finger wheels when they first came out. I had one in my house in the early 1970s. And then there was a barrage of people going, they never had red finger wheels, they were always clear on 746s. So who's right and who's wrong? Because somebody's remembered it right, somebody's remembered it wrong, and I don't know, but I've left the red finger wheel on there for now, because A, that's how it came here, so until somebody proves it's definitely wrong, we're going to leave it on. But yeah, I've never had so many emails and YouTube comments and stuff I did about that when we did that a few weeks back. And, so what's this different colour 746 in Downing Street then, Christopher? Red. It says different colour 746 in 10 Downing Street. Meant different line. Red and blue and ivory and black. Red and blue and ivory and black. So you tell me they had a red and blue one and an ivory and black one. The ivory and black one probably looked alright, but I'm not sure about the red and blue one. Somebody must have just mixed the bits up. I wonder if it was a GPO phone in Downing Street, if it was a private clone made by GEC or somebody like that. I wonder if they're on a private system. I imagine they'd probably be on a private system. Possibly even a military system in Downing Street. Dominic says the finger wheel thing is plausible, but probably a one-off by accident. Definitely 99.999% of them had clear finger wheels from launch. Yeah, but what we're wondering, this chap who got in touch said he got it out of the box new. The engineer got it out of the box new, and it had got a red finger wheel on, and that was his upstairs phone, I think he said. He said downstairs he had a grey 746, and that did indeed arrive with a clear finger wheel on it. So what we're wondering is if one of the factories that had just switched over to making 746s, that had been making 706s, if they basically had some red finger wheels to use up, or their stocks of clear finger wheels hadn't arrived for some reason, and they just carried on using the red ones from the 706 on the 746? That's what we're wondering, but we'll probably never know for certain. Unless somebody who worked in that particular factory can remember. Wesley says there were multiple manufacturers making essentially the same telephone, so I wouldn't be at all surprised if a coloured finger wheel was used in the early days of manufacture. Yeah, I think it's probably just one manufacturer that did it. I think there's probably a shortage of parts, you know, supply issue one day, and rather than stop the production line, they went, oh, we've got these red finger wheels, it's a red phone, bung some of them on, nobody will notice. I've got a feeling that's probably what happened. I think you're quite right, Dominic. Officially, they should have all had clear finger wheels, but unofficially, when there's so many manufacturers making them, did one of the manufacturers sneak some out with red finger wheels on? Chris says 10 Downing Street had 4 746 phones, 1 black 746, 1 red 746, 1 blue 746, and an ivory 746. Ah, so they were standard colours. There were 4 phones. They weren't a mixture of colours on one phone. They were standard colours, but 4 different phones. That's more like it, I think. It says, how did you get the information about 10 Downing Street aligned to a nuclear attack monitoring post in the Cold War that was a red 746? I think it has arrived. Like I say, I'm a bit behind on emails, Christopher, at the minute. I've certainly not seen any that have come today, and I think I probably only saw half of what came yesterday. I get so many emails, and I get a heck of a lot of spam as well. So every now and again, if I miss an email, it's because I've accidentally deleted it when I've been deleting my spam. But I've got a lot to look through because, like I say, a lot of people have sent photos over the last 2 or 3 days or so. So we'll try and get all the photos and stuff on next week's show. Wesley says, most likely the one in Downing Street would have been a GPO, Post Office, BT phone doing the comms for government and carried out by personnel with appropriate security clearance. Yeah. Interesting. Imagine what conversations went across that phone in Downing Street, particularly that red one that was linked to the nuclear bunker. Imagine what conversations go across the phones in Downing Street now. Let the bodies pile up, is what Boris says, isn't it? Allegedly. And I can believe it. I can believe it. Yes. Right. Blimey. What time is it? 1921. So, we've done that. We've got as far as we can get with this yellow phone today. We'll finish this one off next week, and probably finish the pie one off as well if we can, if we've got enough bits by next week. What I'm hoping is that these big boxes of bits, these 4 big boxes, are going to arrive sometime between now and next week's show, and I'm hoping there'll be some useful bits in amongst it all to help finish these 2 projects off, because I am aware now that we've got a couple of projects here that are sort of half done sort of thing, and I do like to get them completed. Then I have to find somewhere to put them. Dominic says he's been watching more of the Sandbaggers, and they have all sorts of phones in almost every set: ivory, grey, topaz, yellow, red, private push button one, the red one, and so on, in government building sets. Yeah, the Sandbaggers. For those of you that don't know, Sandbaggers was a drama. I think 1970s was it, produced by Yorkshire Television on a very low budget. And if you think it's going to be James Bond type thing, all about the Secret Service and that, nothing could be further from the truth. It's a bit dark and it's rather dull, the Sandbaggers. You can see why it's not on anymore. Personally, I was a Dempsey and Makepeace person. Who remembers Dempsey? Hands up if you remember Dempsey and Makepeace. That you'll get a reaction in a minute, I'm sure. Christopher says the red phone only rang in 10 Downing Street when a nuclear attack was in progress. I wouldn't have thought once a nuclear attack was in progress there'd be anybody in Downing Street to answer it. I'd have thought they'd have all gone underground into a bunker or something somewhere. Very strange, Downing Street. I walked down Downing Street when I was a kid. You used to be able to walk down it, now you can't. There's gates across the end now. But it really was sort of late 70s, very early 1980s. It was still all entirely open and you could just walk down Downing Street. You could stand outside number 10. Yeah, you could just walk down it. Put things through Boris's letterbox in those days. Yeah. Wesley says, I was most certainly a fan of Harriet Makepeace. The lovely Glynis Barber, who later went and spoilt it all by being in the remake of Crossroads. She was in Blake 7 as well. You know she was in Blake 7? She was Sue Lynn in Blake 7. I didn't know for years. I watched both those things. I watched Blake 7 and Dempsey and Makepeace, and it was only years later that I realised Glynis Barber was also Sue Lynn in Blake 7. Paul says, on Dempsey and Makepeace they used to count the clicks on the tapped phones as they listened in to get the phone number they did. Yeah, they did. Wasn't it a bit late to be doing that? Had they not gone? They must have at least been going tone dialing by then. What was it, about 1985, Dempsey and Makepeace, something like that? Crikey. It's going back a bit. I remember all the Rover police cars, the SI-10 cars in Dempsey and Makepeace, the big Rovers. Dominic says, yeah, the Sandbaggers is a bit mixed, but I couldn't help looking at the phones. She was also in Emmerdale. Glynis Barber was in Emmerdale. Are you sure that's not Patsy Kensit, Wesley? I think that was Patsy Kensit in Emmerdale. Glynis Barber wasn't in Emmerdale, was she? Anybody? No? Who did she play in Emmerdale, Wesley? Just got to wait for it to catch up, because there's about 30 seconds between me saying something and it getting through to you guys in the chat. Paul says, I absolutely love Blake 7, and no, everything was pulse dialing in that series, Dempsey and Makepeace. Cool. It must have been about changeover time. It must have been about 85-ish. 84, 85, Dempsey and Makepeace. But yeah, Blake 7 was an incredibly good series. And I'll tell you something about Blake 7. I watched it first time around, Blake 7. And I do remember it as being a bit ropey. And I watched some of the early ones back again a few months ago. I think it was during the first lockdown or something. They're on YouTube. You can the entire episodes, and Blake 7 is really, really good. The original Blake 7 holds up now. It holds up far better than the original Doctor Who holds up. You know, it's much more, much higher production values, shall we say, on it. Really, really good. It must have cost a lot of money, Blake 7, when it first went out. A heck of a lot of money. there's been talk about remaking it for years and years and years, and nobody ever has. There's been talk about a movie and all sorts, and it's never happened. The thing that always amazes me about Blake 7 is, I think Blake was only in the first series, and there were never 7 of them. Don't think there were ever 7 of them. Dominic says, now there's a spy thriller that was good. The Alec Guinness adaptations of the John le Carre novels. Alec Guinness. I can't think of Alec Guinness without going, these are not the droids you are looking for. that's Alec Guinness to me. I'll tell you a story about Alec Guinness. Why you didn't see much of Alec Guinness in later years. He was too rich. And the reason he was too rich was Alec Guinness in 1976 was quite a famous actor. And he got this part in Star Wars of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And at the time, nobody had any faith in Star Wars at all when they were making it at Elstree. And basically the money ran out, or the money was running out. And George Lucas said to Alec Guinness, we can't really pay you this week, Alec, but you can have a share in the profits of the movie, which everybody confidently thought would be nothing at the time. So Alec Guinness agreed to sort of not be paid for a while, so the story goes, and have something like a 0.1% share in the total profits from Star Wars. And of course we know what happened, and that made him very rich indeed. So yeah, I've stood on the moon of Tatooine. It's now under a Tesco's. We'll have to go and do one of these shows from Elstree one of these days, because we were on about The Prisoner last week, weren't we? And The Prisoner was made at Elstree in a different studio complex. I did go to Elstree and Boreham Wood a couple of years ago, and I did shoot a video all about the studios, but I ran out of time and didn't shoot as much as I needed to complete it. So I either need to go and complete that video so I can release it, or I need to go and reshoot the whole thing. Probably reshoot the whole thing now, because it's all changed. There's been a lot of building work going on in that town, and things that were there before are not there now and stuff. Dominic says, my mother attended Sunday Mass with Alec Guinness at her local church. Your mother went to Sunday Mass with Obi-Wan Kenobi? Right, there's lots of things wrong with this. Firstly, what was Obi-Wan Kenobi doing going to Sunday Mass when his religion was Jedi? Right, leave you to think about that one for a minute. Right, yeah, how have we got sidetracked onto this? So many Star Wars stories. I actually met R2-D2 and C-3PO once. They were living in a stairwell at Elstree Film and Television at the time. Well, an interesting thing about R2-D2 is, how many legs has R2-D2 got? Right, Star Wars, everybody knows R2-D2. Right, how many legs has R2-D2 got? Stick it in the comments now, what you think. How many legs has R2-D2 got? Today, please. Just stick it in the comments how many legs you all think R2-D2's got. If you don't know, have a guess. How many legs has the little robot R2-D2 in Star Wars got? I'll come back to it in a minute. Right. So, I think we've about cracked it all for today. Everybody's thinking about it. Nobody's writing anything. Everybody knows they're going to be wrong. They all think they know how many legs R2-D2's got, but they think, because he said that, that must not be the answer. But yeah. Oh, Dominic says 3. Any advance on 3? Wesley Pegden says none. Well, technically they're legs with wheels at the bottom, not feet. But yeah, the things with the wheels at the bottom. How many has R2-D2 got? Dominic says 3. Wesley says none. Does anybody say 2? Think about it. It's got one at each side, hasn't it? Something like this. It's got like shoulders, R2-D2. I'll reveal. Alright. Once you've seen this, you can never unsee it. Okay? It changes from scene to scene. Sometimes in the middle of a scene. R2-D2 apparently was designed to have 2 legs and roll on these 2 legs. And there was a little chap called Kenny Baker inside R2-D2 who basically puppeteered it. And Kenny Baker was in a lot of creatures for science fiction shows and things. But he was basically the main man inside of R2-D2. They used to put him inside it, like put him in a rubbish bin, take the top off, put Kenny in, put the top back on. And when you see R2-D2 sort of doing this sort of thing from side to side, getting all excited and maybe falling over backwards, that's Kenny inside there. But when you see R2-D2 rolling along the plains or something, you know, when he's in the desert or somewhere like that, and it's going from place to place, R2-D2, then that is a radio controlled one, but was actually built by apprentices, I believe it was, at British Aerospace. And the radio controlled one, they couldn't find a way of making it work with 2 legs. So when it's the radio controlled one, there's a little third leg at the front and he's sort of more tilted backwards rather than being straight up. So R2-D2 has sometimes got 2 legs and sometimes got 3. So you watch, next time you watch Star Wars, the number of legs changes. Penfold says 3 as well. Yeah. Well, you're kind of right some of the time. He has sometimes got 3. He has sometimes got 2. He's never got none, though, Wesley. So I'm afraid we might have to take one of your gold stars away for that, Wesley. Right. Christopher. Oh, hang on. That's just changed. I was just about to read that and it's changed. Christopher says, I think my Ericsson 1970B phone was a prop from the studios in Australia. On the way it's built inside. It may have been. It may have been. Lots of things were studio props or belonged to prop houses that hired them out and stuff. Wesley says, would you believe it if I said I've never seen Star Wars? I can't believe that anybody's never seen Star Wars. People that normally say they've never seen Star Wars, when you interrogate them, obviously have seen it, or at least seen part of it. Dominic's never seen it either. You're having a laugh. How's that possible? How can there be, out of 15 people in this chat, how can there be 2 people out of 15 that have never seen Star Wars in the same place? Crikey. Where have you been? How have you managed to avoid it for all these years? Do you never watch the TV at Christmas or anything? You must never watch TV at Christmas. Otherwise you'll definitely have seen it. Even just channel hopping or something, you'd have seen a bit of it. I can't believe that. I can't believe that. Apparently, there's about 4 people in the world that have never seen Star Wars, and you're 2 of them. Wesley says, but I did get taken to the pictures to see Return of the Jedi. Oh, that counts. That counts as Star Wars, Return of the Jedi. Yeah. Dominic says, no telephones on the Death Star. Now, that's a good point. How did they communicate with each other in Star Wars? They didn't have telephones, did they? I know they did it in Blake 7. They had wrist communicator things in Blake 7. And Doctor Who, well, he didn't really have anybody to communicate with Doctor Who, did he? I think Doctor Who has been known to use a mobile phone in recent years. But then we don't talk about the modern Doctor Who. I have good news about the modern Doctor Who. The Wicked Witch has gone! Jodie's left! Yes. We might get somebody who can act back in it now then. And, even better news, she's taking Chris Chibnall with her! Yay! That's all I'm going to say. Dominic says he should have got a contract with GEC or Ericsson. What, the Death Star? Yeah. Yeah, I think they should have got a contract with GEC or Ericsson. The Death Star. You can imagine Darth Vader picking the phone up, can't you? The original telephone heavy breather. Yeah. It's getting very silly tonight. Dominic says, Doctor Who really ended in 1989 for me. Oh no, I think it probably ended before that, Dominic. I think it ended where one of the O-Men took over as Doctor Who. Where he says, I've seen Alec Guinness in some cracking Ealing comedies. Yeah, he did a lot of films, didn't he, Alec Guinness? Star Wars was kind of very late in his career, and that's why he was very well known at the time. I don't really know why they cast him in Star Wars, because he was the only person in it who was sort of known at the time, if you discount Fozzie Bear. To me, Yoda will always be Fozzie Bear. Frank Oz, who did Yoda and also did Fozzie Bear. I remember seeing Star Wars for the first time, and I remember the first time I ever heard Yoda, and I went, that's Fozzie Bear! I expected him to come out of the swamp going, waka waka! Yeah, the Lady Killers. Yeah, Alec Guinness was the Lady Killers, wasn't he? Yeah, that is a classic one. That lots of people in the Lady Killers, weren't there? Peter Sellers in it as well, and all sorts of people in that. Yeah, quite funny that one. Yeah. Right. Okie dokie. Maybe that's about as far as we go for today. I'm trying to think what else Alec Guinness was in now, so I'm sure somebody will tell me during the week as the week progresses and as we go through and whatnot. What is coming up this week? Not a lot for me really. Back to work and stuff this week. hopefully we'll be back on here about same time next week, about 6 o'clock-ish again next week. And like I say, hopefully we'll finish these 2 phones off next week as well, and get them sorted and up and running. So we've got the Trimphone to do and this Pi 706 clone as well, and whatever comes in these boxes that should be turning up this week. Bridge over the River Kwai, says Dominic. Yeah, of course, Alec Guinness was in that as well, wasn't he? Yeah. Has anybody not seen Bridge over the River Kwai? You've got to see Bridge over the River Kwai. God, that film is long. God, I could have blown up the bridge and rebuilt it again in the time it takes for that film to play out. Christopher says, I'm getting a black junction box for my Ericsson phone soon from the UK. Cool. I'm not sure if any movies made in Australia based on the UK to have a UK Ericsson phone for a prop. Trying to think of the only Australian movie that I can ever think of is Mad Max. Because that's Australian, isn't it, Mad Max? It was originally it was an Australian film, Mad Max. Don't know if they are now. Don't know where they make up now. But originally it was Australian. Wesley Pegden says Father Brown. What about Father Brown? I can't really remember Father Brown. I remember it being on, but I can't remember anything about it. Maybe I never watched it. Who's watched Father Ted? Arse! But yeah, you can go back and look at things, and you find all sorts of stuff in the stuff from years ago. All kinds of things. I have sent somebody out in America, about a week ago now, just over a week ago. I have sent somebody out in America to try and find the intercom off the desk from Charlie's Angels. You know, the little speakerphone thing that used to sit on the desk, because you never saw Charlie, you just saw the speakerphone thing that was on the end of. Sent somebody out looking for one of those. Not easy to find. In fact, when they were making the Charlie's Angels film a few years ago with Drew Barrymore in, they had trouble finding some as well. But yeah, I've sent somebody out looking for those. So if we're talking film props and that, there are certain television phones and stuff that stand out, and I wonder where are they now. You'll probably never find them. I mean, they might be in a skip somewhere, but I have always wondered about sort of making replicas of them. There's quite a few. Basically, there's the Trimphones off of Swap Shop that changed quite regularly, and none of them were standard Trimphones if you look at them. There's the gold-plated Trimphone off the game show The Golden Shot, and it really was gold-plated. It wasn't painted, it was plated. There's a pink, what appears to be a 706, but I think was probably an Ericsson clone or something, off of Rod Hull's All Life Pink Windmill show that he did with Emu Kids show. And there are others as well. There are other ones. And of course, famously, the banker's phone off of what's it, Deal or No Deal. I do actually know where that came from. I don't know where it is now, but I do know where the banker's phone off Deal or No Deal came from, and it is a genuine old 300 series phone, that, because I know who supplied it to them. Dominic says, I believe that the forum has a private message facility. Yes, it should have, Dominic. It should have. Don't ask me how you access it. There'll be something somewhere that says send PM or something like that, or send DM. and if you click on that, that should do it. Christopher says my mum got on Australian news once at the railway station when I was train spotting. Cool. Well, famous. Your mum's famous, Christopher. I have to find a clip. I'll look on YouTube. There might be a clip. You never know. Right, I think we've caught up with all the chat and stuff. Dominic says, wasn't it a pink push button phone, Andy? What, the Emu one, Dominic? Is that the one you mean? The Emu phone of the All Life Pink Wimble show. It was certainly a 706 shaped phone, and I think originally, because they painted it pink, I think originally it was a black one because it had a black handset code on it and a black line code on it. But they used to, because that show was live, they used to like have kids ring in, a bit like Swap Shop, and that's the phone that they used on it, and it didn't last very long. Say that show didn't last very long, but B, it never worked. The phoning never worked. It always went wrong, and I don't think Rod Hull could handle it, to be quite honest with you. There are clips of it on YouTube, and it goes wrong every single time. Emu's All Life Pink Windmill Show. If you want to look it up on YouTube, it's quite funny. As anything to do with Rod Hull and Emu is funny. Right, I think we've caught up. I think we've got to the end of it for today. I think we've caught up. So it's been a heck of a chat there tonight. We've run the gamut of subjects there tonight, but we still don't know if a Trimphone should have a 3.3 kilo ohm resistor in it. So we'll find that one out for next week as well. We might just try it next week and see what happens there. Right. Paul says, Baby James and I have enjoyed the trip down memory lane. Well, for Daddy anyway, this week. Thanks, Andy, and all. Take care and have a good week. Thanks very much, Paul. We will indeed, or at least we will try to. Remember, if you want to have a chat during the week, get on the forum, gpotelephones.proboards.com. And you can go onto the forum. You'll get a screen that looks a bit like that there. Just click agree to the privacy thing, and then you'll be able to access the forum. I think you can view it without logging in, but if you want to comment or anything, you have to sort of sign up and log into it. Also, remember, if you want to get in touch with us by slightly more traditional means, you can fill in the contact us form on andyshed.colepress.net. And if you want to support us and what we do here, of course the Patreon page is still up. It's patreon.com/andyshed is the one to go to for there. And also, as I said, oh hang on, I'm pressing the wrong button now. As I said earlier, if you want to buy anything out of the shop, it's Andy's Emporium.colepress.net as opposed to andyshed.colepress.net. And we'll be listing more stuff in that shop on there when these boxes arrive, because basically there's way too much stuff in these boxes. And some of it's got to go to make a bit of space, basically. So we'll see what comes. Dominic says he had a barbecue pizza from Aldi tonight. Had a habit of falling apart though. Oh dear. So you got bits of pizza everywhere, have you, Dominic? Yeah. I had one earlier. I had one before we started tonight. Truth be told, that's why we were 10 minutes late. But yeah, it's been a very, very busy day today, but I don't think we'll be doing that again for a while anyway. Too many people, too close. I needed me 2 metre long stick today. Back, get back, get back. Could have done one of those today. Right, that is as far as we go, I think, for this week. Thanks to everybody for taking part and joining in. We will catch you next week. By the way, if you haven't done it already, have a look at the little thing about an Ericathon that came out yesterday. If you haven't seen that already and you're wondering where your wires go to wire up an Ericathon, that will tell you, because it's a question that I got asked the other week, so I made a little video about it. Came out yesterday. Search on the YouTube channel for that. And remember, if you've not done it already, give this video a like and whatever, please, a thumbs up. Yeah, that's a like, in it. Yeah, give it one of those. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. I think we're at about 1,100 and something subscribers now, so it's going up nicely. So until next week. Oh, hang on. Christopher says, did you have the 3.3K registered Ericsson N1900 phone? If you only use one phone on your line. If you only use one phone on your line, I don't think you need the 3.3K resistor. It's only if you've got more than one phone. And they'll still work, they just might not ring if you don't put the resistor in, Christopher. Because basically, one phone, if it's not got the resistor in, will gobble all the power up and not leave enough to ring the others. So if you've only got one phone on, no, I don't think you need the resistor. It's all to do with the REN numbers, and your total REN on your line, if you like, or on your extension, has to add up to no more than 4. And generally, a modern phone might be 1 REN, it might be half a REN. But generally something like a 706 or an Ericsson N1900 is 4 REN. Until you put the resistor in, then that takes it down to 1 REN. Don't ask me how you measure REN. That's entirely different can of worms that would take from now until next week to try and explain. Right, we will go and we will see you all next week. Same time, same place, 6 o'clock next Sunday evening, all being well. Until next week, remember, I am not a number, I am a free man. From me, for now, have a great one. See you soon.